my dear friends, a very good morning to you. It's a Friday morning, the end of another week here in the Spice Isle, the end of our second week on Good Day Grenada. I'm George Grant. Thank you very much for joining us. Let's start with the weather. The meteorological office down at the Maurice Bishop International Airport says that today is going to be cloudy with showers, some heavy, and also thunderstorms. You did hear the rumbles this morning, I would imagine. But they do expect that by evening that should improve as Tropical Depression Isaac pulls a band of moisture in its wake. Thank goodness he stayed away from us. They have also issued a warning for a low chance of flooding in areas which are so prone. All right? Now, Bishop Emeritus Sidney Charles, who died on Tuesday, the 4th of September, at the age of 92, will be buried on Friday, the 28th of September. The Mass of Christian burial will take place at the Cathedral of the Immaculate Conception on Church Street here in St. George. The following is the itinerary of activities as they celebrate the life of Bishop Emeritus Sidney Charles. On Thursday, September 27th, the body of Bishop Charles will be taken to the Cathedral of the Immaculate Conception at 9 a.m. At 10 o'clock, a special Mass for students of Catholic schools and Catholic students of non-Catholic schools will be held. Bishop Charles was an advocate for education in Grenada, founding the New Life organization way back in July of 1984. The body will remain at the cathedral for the regular midday Mass and thereafter for viewing by the general public. At 5:30 p.m., a special vigil service will be held. The service will include praying of the Rosary, evening prayer office of the dead, and tributes. That's on the 27th. Then on Friday, the 28th of September, the body of Bishop Charles will be returned to the cathedral at 9 o'clock in the morning. The Mass of Christian burial will begin at 10 a.m., and Bishop Clyde Harvey will preside over that ceremony. All persons who plan on attending the funeral are asked to be seated by 9:40 a.m. Bishop Sidney Charles will be entombed in the cathedral crypt below his predecessor, Bishop Justin Field, O.P., and above his successor, Bishop Vincent Darius. All right? Now, my dear friends, that is, or I should say, those make up the funeral arrangements for Bishop Charles. Coming up next, we're going to have the national report for you from the GIS from yesterday evening. However, I want you to also stick around because today, rather than having our good friend, the Flying Turkey, on with us from New York, we're going to have a report from the ECCB. Flying Turkey was around. He planned on joining us this morning, but we did run into some glitches. And as a result, we were not able to get him online. However, he will be back with us next Friday, okay? The ECCB wants to address an issue which I know has been of concern to a lot of people. A lot of people have been complaining about the fact that the banks seem to be imposing charge after charge after charge on their customers. And, it's like taking a little bit out of your piggy bank every month. And a lot of people have voiced some concerns about that. Well, I'll tell you what. The bank sent me a video yesterday, which I'm going to play for you after the national report. And that video acknowledges the fact that, yes, there have been a lot of charges imposed on customers of the commercial banks. However, there are ways to get around some of those charges. Huh? Good news. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's take a little break here, and then we'll come on back and hear the national report. Then The report from the ECCB.
Grenada Market has now introduced the Prime products to online shoppers in the UK via amazon.co.uk. Zeberpick, Nutmed, Bourbonday and Mobiback are now available, with more products being added gradually. These products are shipped across the UK and Europe free of charge for Amazon Prime members and backed by Amazon's reputable customer service. Avoid international shipping. Buy in your local area. Amazon.com in the USA, Amazon.ca in Canada, and Amazon.co.uk in UK and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
So, babe, Alberto and Beryl come and gone, right? So that means we still have Chris, Debbie, Florence, Michael, Patty, Sarah.
From the looks of it, Tony and Valerie might be coming as well. So we need to pick up some extra hurricane supplies.
You don't know how many hurricanes will be coming this season, so you need to be prepared. At Hubbard's Hardware and Building Supply Departments and Food Fair Supermarkets, everything from canned foods, flashlights and batteries, to plywood, tarpaulin, lanterns, roof repair kits, water tanks, etc. are available. For over 90 years, we've helped you prepare for and recover from storms. Hubbard's is an integral part of your hurricane preparedness plan. Get discounts when using credit and debit cards.
Easy living should be convenient. With Grennek, it is. Dial 237 for any Grennek department, or for customer service, streetlight outages, or if it's unsafe to trim a tree near a power line. For streetlights and service issues, please note the pole number. From just about anywhere, you can also check your bill balance and other account information. Just keep your Grennek access number handy. Dial 237 for Grennek. It's that easy. Grennek, energizing our Grenada.
Thinking of owning your own home? Take it from a dream to reality. Yes, you can make it yours. Join Co-op Bank for its Make It Yours Property Expo from Friday, July 20th to Saturday, July 21st at the Grenada Trade Center. This year, we are breaking new grounds and going green. Learn tips on making your building climate change resistant, ways to go green, and so much more. Register by visiting www.grenadacoopbank.com or any Co-op Bank retail banking unit.
Make it yours, make it yours. Welcome home.
Energy Minister says recent announcement of Petrofin closure can mean increased transportation costs. Details to this story and more in the National Report. And welcome back. With the National Report for Thursday, September 13th, 2018, I am Sherry Noel. Energy Minister Honorable Gregory Boeing says a recent announcement by the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago that Petrofin will no longer be servicing the region could mean increased transportation costs if fuel is to be imported from the United States. From October 1st, the region will have to seek the product elsewhere. Petrofin supplies more than 70% of products to the region, and while some countries may have storage, the capacity is for a maximum of only 2 months. Minister Bowen, who represented the Prime Minister at a recent Prime Ministerial Steering Subcommittee meeting in Barbados, which discussed the subject, says the result of the closure is that they now have to use an alternative source of supply.
Some of the local suppliers, like Saul, they're looking to import extraterritorially, import from the USA. Immediately, Mr. Speaker, we see the increase in prices. Longer shipping period, more handling, bunking and debunking, etc. They have written to us asking for the removal of the common external tariff. That's when we purchase goods from outside the region. Collectively, we must pay the produce will attract the common external tariff. The Prime Ministerial Subcommittee has agreed. Trinidad and Tobago was present, that we could remove the common external tariff. All we'd have to do is the paperwork, right to CARICOM, etc.
Minister Bowen says CARICOM, which has agreed to stick together during this challenge, will be looking both regionally and extra-regionally. He added that they cannot look to Venezuela since PetroCaribe has lost the contract for supplying diesel to GrenLec on a competitive bid because of the high cost of transporting fuel from Guyana to Grenada.
So at least our plant, electrical plant, is out of that particular problem. However, they're purchasing from Sol, and Sol now will have to look extra the region. So we see the implication, Mr. Speaker, not only in Grenada, and not only for the price to the local consumer to transportation, but also the price to the energy company, which brings us to the point, Mr. Speaker, of how we must manage. In a situation like this, Mr. Speaker, where all the costs will be passed on to the consumer, we need to come to an arrangement where everyone will take part of the cost and bear the burden, Mr. Speaker. So I wish to advise this Honourable House that CARICOM has this fully in the sights, and although we cannot say from where, whether Rubis or Shell or another party, the fuel will come, and for how long we will remain in this boat, but the region is looking and taking care of it, Mr. Speaker.
Petrofin supplies refined products such as gasoline, diesel and aviation fuel to countries in the region and beyond, including Jamaica, Barbados, Grenada and St. Lucia. CARICOM's Assistant Secretary General for Trade and Economic Integration, Mr. Joseph Cox, says if the region is to effectively compete on a global scale, its people must be willing to embrace the change that technology brings. Following a meeting with Prime Minister Dr. the Right Honourable Keith Mitchell, Mr. Cox said with the new and changing paradigm comes many opportunities and new linkages in partnerships, business and education.
If you look at our doing business indicators, you find that for the region, access to technology is high. Use of technology, relatively speaking, is not as high. For the simple reason that some people, for whatever the reasons, choose to stick with the try and true for them. But the reality of life is that whether people want to like it or not, we are going to be dragged or walked, whichever adjective you choose, into the modern world, because for us to compete on a global scale, we have no chance, no option but to transition to the new platforms.
One of the subjects raised during the meeting with the Prime Minister on Wednesday was the need for more of the region's ministers to become engaged and involved in the process, and it's expected that a series of ministerial meetings will be held over the next few months. CARICOM's Deputy Program Manager, ICT for Development, Ms. Jennifer Britton, says a single ICT space partnership is also high on the agenda.
One of the outcomes of this meeting is that I think we have, in principle, agreement from the Prime Minister that that partnership will be launched in 2019, which means that we have additional work to engage partners who will join us in that partnership, outreach, and just the logistics of that partnership meeting, and then the date will be announced, no doubt, by Prime Minister once we have the arrangements in place. But the work is always ongoing, and luckily it is supported by the work that's happening in member states, so there's never a halt. And so those are the big ticket items, I think, for the next 3 to 6 months. There's also going to be the opportunity for the heads of government that are intersessional to receive some pointed input from the Prime Minister of Grenada when he hopefully participates on how we provision for science, technology, engineering, and math, and how ICT, what the role ICT plays in that, and the role of the single space in helping us move both of those seemingly separate sectors forward.
This is the National Report. More news after the break.
An earthquake can happen at any time. Be aware. Drop, cover, hold on. Crouch and cover your head with your arms. Hold firm in an internal doorway. Avoid running outside or using stairs. Stay away from elevators and move away from outer walls, glass windows, and hanging objects. Remember, when the earth quakes, do the DCH. Drop, cover, hold on. Now, are you ready?
Yes! We're ready! Visit weready.org, brought to you by Sedima and the European Union.
Wendell Bullen of Carriacou, who has been residing in the United States for a number of years now, is making waves internationally in the field of dance. Wendell's latest accomplishment was televised worldwide when he formed part of a cast that danced for Janet Jackson's latest video for her single, Made for Now. An overwhelmed but humbled Wendell is in the Spice Isle for a few days and shared his successes to date in the field of dance with the National Report.
That's the first accomplishment that's been televised so much. So I think that's the reason, that's how come everybody got to see it. But there was like a lot of different things that I did in New York before, just to kind of help build a connection to get to that Janet Jackson job. So a friend of mine actually, she's also a choreographer, dancer, Amari. She contacted one of my dancer family members, or my brother, Slip, because they were looking specifically for dancehall dancers. I mean, I'm a well-rounded dancer, but I also, dancehall is very strong for me. So they were looking specifically for dancehall dancers. So she contacted him, and it was just so funny because the person that was helping with the casting, my other friend in New York, Drew, he contacted me.
Janet Jackson, he says, has a liking for what's real and authentic.
She definitely, for Janet Jackson specifically, she definitely likes the authentic stuff. Okay. So she knows where to go find it, and she does her research. So she makes sure she checks to see if you're right for the job. And just her having us there, she was excited to have us. So it was really fun shooting with her as well.
Wendell will head over to Carriacou on Friday, and he says he has special plans to impart some of his skills with residents.
When I get to Carriacou, I'm trying to do a free class every day. Okay. So for the kids, just so I could, just get that ball rolling to kind of just inspire them a little bit and give them some motivation. But I'm also doing like a one last class and then like an exhibition kind of thing.
If you wanna check the grand like balance on your phone, or report a faulty line near your home. If there is an emergency, take out your phone. These are 3 numbers that you should know. 237. Call me anytime, I'm always on the line. 237. Just call me anytime, I'm always on the line. 237.
Co-op Bank cares about your financial future, which is why we want you to join us on Thursday, September 20th from 5 to 8 p.m. at the Grenada Trade Center for our first National Growth and Investment Dialogue. Come and be enlightened on seizing opportunities to grow your wealth.
Can I have a chicken lunch, please? Large.
Real nice today.
I don't want that.
But you just asked for a chicken lunch.
I don't have problem with the lunch. Afraid the container.
What is the problem with it?
These styrofoam containers, they don't good for the environment. They shorten with life.
What foolishness you telling me? So what you want me to use?
Put my food in this. Where you get that? At the food fair, where you could get all biodegradable food boxes and disposable food supplies like cups, plates, anything you could think about. Name it, it's there. And they don't harm the environment. Food fair, taking the lead in cleaning up and protecting the environment. Hey, like you take me advice, you get in your biodegradable food supplies.
Well, girl, I supporting who's supporting the environment. That is why I shop in at food fair.
Food fair, where you can fill your baskets without emptying your pockets. Products distributed by Hubbard's agency, Kirani James Boulevard.
Grenada Market has now introduced the Prime products to online shoppers in the UK via amazon.co.uk. Zeberpick, Nutmeg, Bourbonday and Mobiback are now available, with more products being added gradually. These products are shipped across the UK and Europe free of charge for Amazon Prime members and backed by Amazon's reputable customer service. Avoid international shipping. Buy in your local area. Amazon.com in the USA, Amazon.ca in Canada, and Amazon.co.uk in UK and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
Okay, now I did tell you about that piece that was sent to me by the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank. Should make you feel a little bit better about the charges that you find appearing every month from your commercial bank, and especially the news that there are ways around them. Take a look at this.
Hi and welcome to this another episode of ECCB Connects. This week we'll be discussing bank fees and charges. Stay with us. We'll be back in a moment.
Hi, I'm Abigail.
And I'm Gavin.
And we're from the
Dominica State College. And you're watching ECCB Connects.
Thanks for staying connected with us. On this week's program, I have with me Deidre Venner, Senior Manager, Retail Banking Division at the St. Kitts Nevis Anguilla National Bank. Deidre, welcome to ECCB Connects.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here.
Well, we were discussing a very important topic, bank fees and charges. Within recent times, customers have been expressing concern about the increase in these fees and charges. In some cases, you have monthly charges being deducted from customers' accounts. What has changed within the banking industry to warrant the increase in these fees and charges?
In recent times, banking has changed. The expectations of customers has changed as well. So the products and services that we offer has also changed to meet the times. There are ATMs, there's card services, and customers expect these services now, but they come at a cost. So there's the license fees, the hardware, the software, the training, and all of these carry costs as well. And what customers must understand is that their deposits, the money they put into the bank, we cannot use those funds to pay these fees. So the bank applies fees to certain services and products in order to make these payments and to meet these demands.
Okay. You mentioned that deposits cannot be used to cover bank expenses. How are deposits used?
Customers deposit their funds and we pay them interest on their deposits, and in turn we lend those funds to customers requiring mortgages, loans for cars, vacations, whatever, at an interest rate, and that interest also helps in the bank's income to cover their costs.
Deidre, you've been working in the banking sector for quite a number of years. I think you said close to 40 years, not wanting to reveal your age or anything. And over the years, you would have seen quite a number of changes in the industry. Within recent times, we have had international requirements, international standards, FATCA, anti-money laundering. We've had de-risking issues. How have these issues affected the fees and charges that customers are now required to pay?
Like I said, I've been in banking for many years. I was there when it was manual, and I've seen the progression into the computerized age. Along with that, we also saw different services, bank services and products being put in place. Back then, customers were happy with just depositing your funds, withdrawing your funds, and getting a loan. That is no longer so. Now, customers that have great expectations, there is the ATM, they expect to go to the ATM and get their funds. They go online to check their balances, to make bill payments. All of these come at a cost. There's a cost for staff, for training. There's a cost for the hardware, the software, the licenses. So it's very, very expensive. It's hundreds of thousands of dollars for the license to offer these services to our customers.
And like I mentioned, the recent developments with respect to FATCA, de-risking, and those issues.
Right, so FATCA came on board, so you had to there was supposed to be a software in place so you can monitor those U.S. citizens and those persons with U.S. indicia. There is compliance. You have to put a system in place to also monitor transactions. There is risk. You have to monitor your risk appetite in the bank. That comes at cost. Online banking, customers want to see, you have to pay for these services. And there are some of it is passed on to the customers. Although there are many free services that banks offer as well. Many of the services we take for granted and they are free. There's a cost behind them, but the bank does not pass it on to the customer.
In short, banking has become a very expensive operation.
Very costly, very expensive.
Let's look at some of these bank fees and charges. I know they vary from bank to bank, but what are some of the common fees and charges a customer will have to pay?
I think some of the main ones are the transaction fees that they pay for. Depends on the number of transactions that go through the account, mostly withdrawals as opposed to deposits. There's the overdraft fee, the return check fee. There's the service fee on most checking accounts. That is also, you can find basically across all banks. So those are some of the normal fees you can see across all banks.
And you mentioned some free services. Highlight some of those.
Well, I can't speak across all banks, but like at my bank, online banking is a free service. You don't pay for it, but the bank is paying for that service. You're allowed to make bill payments online at no cost to you. You don't have to go and stand in a line. So some of these are the free services, even coming into the bank for queries, and so you're not paying for that service, but we have to pay staff to deal with these issues.
So in both ways, you have some free services and you have some that you have to pay.
Fee services.
Deidre, you mentioned the whole issue of cost and how these fees and charges the commercial banks apply. They really go towards covering expenses. But you also mentioned the increase in products and the different services the banks offer. To what extent the fees and charges contribute to the quality of products and services customers receive?
Without the fees and services, we probably would not be able to offer these products and services because, like I said, they come at a cost. So by paying these fees, we can maintain the level of service that most customers come to expect. And they should expect good service because, as I say, in banking, most banks offer the same services. The quality of the service is what differentiates banks. So most banks charge the fees in order to maintain good customer service levels that they aspire to. So the customers pay the fees and they in return should expect good service from their banks.
Deidre, I've heard customers with this concern where they have their account and their monthly deductions up to the point where they go into the bank and the bank says, you owe me, instead of my deposit being there. How does that happen?
Well, there are various types of accounts. I know for checking accounts, most banks have a service charge, a monthly service charge. And these charges are automated. You don't go in and charge an individual customer's account. Will be there all year. So it's automated. So the system automatically every month, based on the transactions, it deducts the payment from the charges from the account. Some banks charge for minimum balances. And I guess that is just their policy. So if you fall below, and you should know upfront what the minimum balance is, so you know that if you fall below that balance, you will incur a charge.
So for example, let's say a bank has a minimum balance of $1,000. If your account falls below that, you don't have $1,000, you have less, then it will attract.
It will attract the charge.
A charge. Okay.
So it is like everything in life. If you want to buy a bedroom set, you shop from one hardware to the next until you find the best price for you. It's the same with banking. You can shop around, check various banks in your area, see what their charges are, ask questions, and make a decision what is best for you and what product is best for you. You may not need a checking account, you may want a savings, you may need a savings and not a checking and not a savings. So you have to decide which product you need and what charges you are willing to pay. Also with ATMs, most banks levy a charge. There's a maximum number of withdrawals per month. You should know what that maximum is. If it is 5, it is enough for 1 per week, plus an extra 1 sometimes, for you to go to the ATM, and you should know what your expenses are for any given week. So if you continually go to the ATM $20 and then you need another $20, you would incur a charge. And some of these charges are deterrents. We're trying to channel our customers into using their cards as they were intended. To swipe at the merchants, most merchants have point-of-sale machines. So instead of taking off the cash, to go to Rams, to go to somewhere else, to spend the money cash, use your card. You have a card, swipe your card, and you'd save yourself charges. And it's more secure. There's no cash on you for someone to steal. So it's a security measure as well.
All in all, customers will still be, unhappy with fees and charges. What do you have to say to the customer who says, I don't want to pay these fees and charges?
Some of these fees and charges customers may have to understand that they can avoid. It is like an overdrawing your account. The onus is on the customer to monitor what checks are written. The bank would not know what checks you have outside. So once you've written a check, you can't decide it has not come in yet, so you write another one. You can avoid those overdraft charges. You can avoid return check charges. Because you do not have any money, do not write your check, because it's going to go back. You're going to incur charges from the bank that sent back your check. If the payment came from another bank, they too will apply a charge. And as we see from the various vendors and businesses out there, they too apply a penalty. So you may write a $50 check and end up with charges in excess of $200. It's not worth it. So monitor and analyze your accounts to avoid some of these charges. They can be avoided. I spoke about the minimum charge for transactions. Some banks say you can withdraw 4 or 5 times in a month, cash withdrawals. Monitor. We're not limiting you the amount, but you can decide, I do not want to go over that limit, and I would avoid the charge. So there are ways and means to minimize the charges that you incur in any given month. But customers have to educate themselves and be aware of what they are doing to avoid some of these charges.
So there is a way around the fees and the charges.
Some of those fees, there are.
Them.
Yes.
And it just calls for individual customers to be aware, ask questions, educate themselves, know what services the banks are offering.
That's correct.
Deirdre, thank you very much for speaking with us on ECCB Connects.
Thanks for having me. It was a pleasure being here.
You're watching ECCB Connects, protecting our currency, developing our region. And now for this week's financial tip.
If you make a purchase of your credit card, pay off the bill as soon as you receive it. If you can't pay the entire balance, pay more than the minimum amount due. Also, make paying off your credit card balance a goal and set a timetable to achieve this.
To view any episode of ECCB Connects anytime, anyplace, at your convenience, check us out on YouTube or Facebook at ECCB Connects.
Here's where we end this week's episode of ECCB Connects. Remember, ECCB Connects is produced by the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank to share with you who we are, what we do, and how we serve you. Join us again next week when we'll be back with another program.
Conveniently located in the Grandstand Shopping Center, for over 40 years, Food Fair has provided quality service at affordable prices. Now, grocery shopping is made easier and more convenient from the Food Fair web store.
Hey, babe. Listen, I need you to go down to Food Fair to get some groceries.
All right, no problem. Right away.
Thanks, babe. What are you doing? You're supposed to be going Food Fair to get a grocery, man.
I am, but didn't you know you can order your groceries online from the Food Fair web store?
Are you serious?
Of course. All you have to do is just to log on to www.foodfair.gd with credit card in hand, and with an order of $100 or more, Food Fair Granadas will deliver up to 3 miles away. And you don't even have to worry about your information, you know. Their safety measures are excellent.
So hold on. You just order online and Food Fair will deliver to you?
Yep,
Oh, baby, better hurry up and order, man.
I already did. They should be here any minute now.
Enjoy easy online shopping anytime from your home or office from the Food Fair web store. Food Fair, where you can fill your baskets without emptying your pockets.
Grenada Market has now introduced the Prime products to online shoppers in the UK via amazon.co.uk. Zeberpick, Nutmeg, Bourbonday and Mobiback are now available, with more products being added gradually. These products are shipped across the UK and Europe free of charge for Amazon Prime members and backed by Amazon's reputable customer service. Avoid international shipping. Buy in your local area. Amazon.com in the USA, Amazon.ca in Canada, and Amazon.co.uk in UK and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
Together with you, our customers, we energize our community.
Together with you, we energize our economy. We are working together to give our nation a better tomorrow. With you, we energize our future. Together, we energize our nation.
Thank you for partnering with us as we energize our Spice Island.
Grenlec, energizing our Grenada.
Alrighty, folks, this is where we're going to pull the curtain down for not only today, Friday, but for this week, our second week of Good Day Grenada. Thank you so much for joining us. By the way, here's an invitation to join us this coming Sunday morning for the next edition of Sundays with George Grant. And let me tell you, you're going to be hearing some things about the CCJ, which I'm pretty darn certain you have not heard before. On that note, I say God's blessings. By His grace, let's do it all over again next week.